A few days ago, I came across a psychological concept known as end of history illusion. It's a very strange finding. People can easily see how much they have changed in the last 10 years. Their interests change, their habits change, their beliefs change, and their priorities change. But when asked how much they will change in the next 10 years, most people think that the future version of themselves will be surprisingly similar to who they are today. In other words, we underestimate how much life is going to change us. And maybe that's why so many people drift through life. Not because they lack intelligence or information, but because they stop asking themselves the difficult questions. Questions that force them to pause. Questions that interrupts their autopilot. Questions that make them see what they have been avoiding. So today I want to share with you the 7 questions which really hit me when I was asked these same during my training. Not to answer them quickly, but to just sit with them. Questions that reveal things about time, identity, relationships, and the way we live our lives. Because sometimes a single question can do what years of advice cannot, and can change your life more than an answer. So before moving forward, do like the video and subscribe the channel if you are new to it. Question number 1. If your future self met you today, would they thank you or warn you? Human beings are terrible at caring about their future selves. Researchers have found that many people think about their future self almost like a stranger, and which is why we overspend, procrastinate, neglect health, and delay important things. Our brain gets the pleasure now, but our future self faces the consequences later. And that's why asking this question is very much important, because this question creates what is known as future self continuity. That means the more connected people feel to this future self, the more they save money, the more likely they are to do their exercises or do their meditations or work upon themselves, or the more likely they are to make their long-term decisions. In simple language, this question helps you stop stealing from your future self. And one can realize the heaviness of this question through a very simple experiment. Just take your notebook and write your current age and then add 10 to it, and just look at that number. Most people look at it and see mathematics. I look at it and see a person, a real person, a version of you that is slowly being built right now. The strange things about the future is that it doesn't arrive all at once. It arrives through ordinary days, through habits, small decisions, and things that seem insignificant. One workout, one book, one conversation, one excuse, one postponement. But remember this thing, if the future version of us feels like someone else, one day that future person becomes real. One day you will wake up and be that age. The question is, when that version of you looks back, what will they see? Will they see someone who kept waiting, or someone who finally started? Because one day the future won't be your thought experiment anymore. It will be your life. Question number 2. If your parents silently watch your habits for a week, would they feel that their sacrifices are being honored? This is known as self-distancing. This is very important to be asked, because sometimes people change behavior when they change their perspective. Sometimes we are blind to our own life, but when we see ourselves through another person's eye, things become clearer. One can really experience the heaviness of this question by thinking about your parent for a moment. Not what they gave you, but what they gave up. You will find out that most sacrifices were invisible. Most of them you won't even know. The overtime shifts, the worries they never shared, the things they wanted but never bought, the nights they couldn't sleep, and the pressure they carried quietly. Many parents spend years worrying about their children in ways that their children never understands. So now imagine if your parent spent the next 7 days watching your life. No advice, lectures, or reminders, just observation. They watch how you spend your mornings, how much time you waste or you use, how seriously you take your responsibilities, and how you react when things become difficult. And at the end of the week, they are asked one single question: do you feel your sacrifices are being honored? Of course not repaid, because no child can ever repay their parents. That's not the point. The point is, would they feel that the opportunities they worked so hard to create are being valued? Because sometimes the best way to evaluate our lives is to see it through eyes of people who sacrificed for it. This small thought often creates gratitude, responsibility, and perspective shift. Not guilt, but responsibility. It shifts the question from what do I want to what am I doing with what I have been given. And that often changes behavior more effectively than motivation. Question number 3. What truth you already know but you keep avoiding? Now this is known as cognitive dissonance. That is the discomfort we feel when our actions don't match what we know. And instead of changing our behavior, we often avoid thinking about the truth. Because the truth asks something from us. It requires action. So most people think they require more information, but actually that's not true. Most people already know a surprising amount. They know they should exercise. They know they should meditate. They know they should sleep early. They know they should stop procrastinating. They know they should have certain conversations. And they know that they should stop certain habits. The problem is rarely ignorance. The problem is avoidance, and avoidance is really very much expensive. Research repeatedly shows that avoidance reduces anxiety temporarily but increases in long term, because the things that you keep avoiding often grows larger in your mind. So if a person really sits and asks this question, it reduces mental friction. People often think they need a solution, but what they actually need is clarity. Once the truth is named, energy returns, directions appear, and decisions become very much easy. Sometimes the hardest part isn't solving a problem, it's admitting the problem. So here's the question: what truth of yours keeps showing up in your life? The one you have been negotiating with, explaining away, or postponing. Because the longer we avoid any truth, the more power it gains over us. Question number 4. If everything stopped today, who would you be? Imagine something. For the next 24 hours, you can't achieve anything. No money, no productivity, no goals, and no status. Absolutely nothing. Who would you be now? This sounds like a very strange question, but when I was asked, this became one of the most important and one of the most favorite question of mine. Because we live in an environment that constantly asks you, what are you doing? What have you achieved? And what comes next? And slowly, many people begin attaching their entire identity to their achievement. Their self-worth become achievement equals to worth. No achievement equals to no worth. The moment they are not productive, they feel guilty. The moment they are alone, they feel restless. And the moment life becomes quiet, they look for distraction. And this creates chronic anxiety, because achievement is never finished. There is always and always another goal. And that is why there is always a uncomfortable possibility. What if you have spent years building a successful life without building a relationship with yourself? Would you enjoy spending a day with yourself if there was nothing left to prove? That's the question. And this small question helps separate who I am from what I do. Even research on well-being repeatedly finds people with a strong sense of internal identity tends to be more resilient during setbacks. And it's only because when success disappears, they still know who they are. Question number 5. What ordinary moment today might you desperately miss 20 years from now? Find an old family photograph and just look at it carefully. Someone in that picture is younger, someone is stronger, someone has fewer worries, and maybe someone in that picture don't even exist today. The strange thing about photographs are that we think they are pictures of people. They are not. They are pictures of time. The moment that existed once and will never ever exist again. Nobody in that photo knew how precious would that day would become. It was probably very much ordinary, and that's what makes it powerful. Because humans has a psychological bias called adaptation. Parents, friends, health, home, time, we begin treating them as normal, and that's why most of the moments we miss later don't feel important while they are happening. The family dinner, the evening conversation, the drive home, the people sitting in the next room, we assume that there will be more, and then one day we realize they weren't. Maybe the good old days don't feel special while we are living them, and maybe that's why we fail to notice them. And that's what makes this question utterly sensational, because it interrupts adaptation and forces appreciation. And we already know that gratitude practices improve life satisfaction, positive emotions, relationships. So this question is basically a gratitude exercise disguised as a thought experiment. Question number 6. If this year ends exactly like it started, are you okay with that? We human beings systematically underestimate the speed of time. We think, I'll start next month, I'll do it later. Then suddenly it's December, and then suddenly another year is gone. You yourself can find now. Open your calendar. It's already June or July or August, depending on when you are seeing this video. The point is the same. The time is moving whether you pay attention to it or not. And when the year end arrives, most people ask, where did the year go? But that's the wrong question, because the year didn't go anywhere. It was spent one day at a time. The better question is, if nothing changed between now and the end of the year, would you be okay with that? Because time passing is automatic, but growth isn't. So answering this question, every time you want to postpone something that's important, creates urgency and often help people prioritize what actually matters. Question number 7. What part of your identity is actually just an old pattern? This might be one of the most important questions, especially if you have the habit of quitting things very easily. Many people say things like, I'm lazy, I'm a quitter, I lack discipline. I'm bad at consistency. But maybe not. Maybe you are just confusing your history with identity. I quit before, that's history. But I'm a quitter, that's an identity. One describes an event and the other describes a person. And the danger is that once we turn a pattern into an identity, we stop questioning it. We stop challenging it. We start living like it. Because identity drives behavior far more than motivation. If someone believes I'm not disciplined enough, then your brain starts collecting evidence for that belief. And psychologists call this confirmation bias. We notice information that confirms our existing belief. The moment someone changes I'm lazy to I have been acting lazily lately, everything changes. One is permanent and the other is temporary. One creates helplessness and the other creates possibility. Remember this, your past behavior contains information, but it doesn't contain your destiny. The fact that something has been true about you doesn't automatically mean that it has to remain true about you. And with this, finally concluding the video, remember the reason these questions matter is not because answering them magically changes your life. It's because it interrupts the unconscious pattern that are already shaping your life. And sometimes a moment of awareness changes more than 100 motivational quotes ever could. Hear me again. Most people are looking for better answers. But sometimes the thing that changes your life isn't an answer at all. It's a question that refuses to leave you alone. With this, hope I was able to deliver my message to you. If you loved the video, do give it a like, share and subscribe. Up to next, stay safe, healthy, happy and namaskaram.